Before we start this week's review, I just wish to pay my respects to the late, great Chadwick Boseman, who passed away last weekend after his battle with colon cancer. A true Avenger, an amazing actor, and one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's absolute best as T'Challa, aka the Black Panther. My deepest condolences to all Chadwick's family and friends. May he rest in peace. Wakanda forever. Welcome everyone to my reviews for the Arrowverse. I'm DC Wood. Thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking and supporting, and thank you for your patience. I've been busy with artwork, I've been busy with family, been busy at work, I've been busy painting and redecorating, which is why this particular review is so late. But I'm here now with a special, my review of Crisis on Infinite Earths on DVD. Crisis on Infinite Earths is a 5-part crossover that aired across 5 shows: Supergirl, Batwoman, The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. Started on 8th of December 2019 and concluded earlier on this year, back in 14th of January. It was another rating success for the CW, with each of the shows scoring season highs for their current seasons and totaling over 2 million viewers for each episode. Ever since The Flash Season 1 came along back in 2014, we've grown accustomed to seeing crossovers between the Arrowverse shows, and we've seen so many over the years: Flash versus Arrow, The Brave and the Bold, Haunted, Heroes Join Forces, World's Finest, Invasion, Duet, Crisis on Earth X, Elseworlds, and now we're on the big one. The one that the entire Arrowverse has been building towards ever since The Flash Season 1, the one that fans of the original DC Comics and crossovers in general still revere to this day. Crisis on Infinite Earths. Since the Age of Heroes began with Oliver Queen, the Arrowverse has grown and evolved so much. Metahumans have arisen, aliens have arrived, time travel has been mastered, parallel realities, infinite Earths have been discovered, and throughout all the changes and developments in the last several years, one thing has remained constant, and that is the omen of a crisis. Events have spiraled well beyond control, and Marno Vu, aka the Monitor, LaMonica Garrett, has spent years preparing chosen champions to help reality survive the crisis. The Green Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, Batwoman, Superman, White Canary, and the Legends of Tomorrow, among others, have all been summoned for the fight of their lives, as a wave of antimatter consumes all in its path. Countless worlds and heroes will die, and nothing will ever be the same again. Normally, when I review these Arrowverse seasons, I've been spoiling stuff here and there. That's because the seasons in question are several years old and most people will have already seen them by now. I made the exception with Batwoman Season 1 when I reviewed that a few weeks ago, because not everybody will have seen that yet. I'm going to do the same thing here with Crisis on Infinite Earths, because not everybody has seen this one yet. So, how best to sum up Crisis on Infinite Earths? Nothing short of a triumph. I was lucky enough to catch Crisis on Infinite Earths online when it first aired, and it truly feels like the culmination of everything the whole Arrowverse has built up towards after 8 years of careful nurturing and amazing television. What Avengers Endgame was to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Crisis on Infinite Earths is to the Arrowverse. The scope, the vision, the ambition of everything I saw before me is amazing. The execution, excellent. Crossovers have been an annual event for the CW since Flash vs. Arrow back in 2014, as I've said, and the writing behind them all has been generally excellent, boasting a tight continuity, excellent juggling over current storylines on the respective shows, whilst coming together for an epic event that further develops all the shows and the Arrowverse as a whole. Crisis on Infinite Earths not only does this, it surpasses all of the crossovers that have come before it. Without giving too much away, Crisis is a real guaranteed game changer for DC's television universe, and something of an all-time high. Ever since 2018's Elseworlds, the showrunners have been busy writing and hyping this event across all the shows, with Arrow Season 8 and The Flash Season 6 in particular doing so much to lay the groundwork for this event. Supergirl, Batwoman and The Flash are all amazing individual episodes, all resulting in a fantastic cliffhanger that gets resolved in epic satisfaction in Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. Everything changes radically after Crisis for Supergirl, Batwoman, The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, and Black Lightning as well, which officially gets integrated into the Arrowverse during this event, and the consequences are explored brilliantly in the remaining shows. Of course, this is all during Arrow's 8th and final season, and Arrow would end 2 episodes after Crisis. The story, the plotting, the pacing, the direction, everything is high stakes and multifaceted, and it's treated as such by all cast and crew. Everyone is at their A game for this one, especially Stephen Amell, whose Oliver Queen is determined to go out in a blaze of glory. Grant Gustin, Melissa Benoist, Katie Lotz, Cress Williams are brilliant as always. Ruby Rose, as I said in my review for Batwoman Season 1, shows tremendous improvement for her role in Crisis compared to Batwoman's pilot. Ruby does a fantastic job in her episode, and some of the scenes she's given, she really proves herself here. All the supporting casts, all the familiar faces are fantastic as ever. Of course, Tyler Hoechlin again proves what a perfect Superman he is. Elizabeth Tulloch again proves what a perfect Lois Lane she is. And John Cryer is back as Lex Luthor. I absolutely loved John's rendition of Lex in Supergirl Season 4. He grasps the essence of Superman's arch-nemesis flawlessly, and Luthor's development in Crisis, John's amazing performance, just cements him here as one of the Arrowverse's greatest villains of all time. Major shout out as well to LaMonica Garrett, who continues to be a fascinating presence as the Monitor. The origins of Mar-Novu and the Anti-Monitor, also played by LaMonica, make the story and the character all the more fascinating and well developed. And also, a big shout out to Brandon Routh. In my opinion, he's the MVP of Crisis on Infinite Earths, not just for his continually perfect performances as Ray Palmer, the Atom, but also for his return as Superman. I didn't like Superman Returns at all when I first saw that film back in 2006. I thought it was a rubbish film, frankly, but I will always respect Brandon's time as the Man of Steel. Here he gets another chance to portray the Man of Steel, and this time round he's given a much better story and script. Brandon now cements his legacy as one of the greatest Supermen of all time. He really does. There's so much to discuss, so many amazing cameos and surprise appearances from DC film, television and other media. It's not just the Arrowverse that Crisis pays tribute to, but DC Comics as a whole. Other shows, other films, Titans, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing and Stargirl, the DC Extended Universe, DC television shows from decades ago like the 60s Batman show, the Tim Burton Batman films from the 90s. My God, it literally feels like everything and everyone that's DC related is connected to this crossover, and it's just glorious to behold. And it's all so coherent and intricate with such emotional investment. It's amazing. It truly, truly is an amazing achievement. Now, the crossover itself is a huge success, but what about the release on home media? Now, here in the UK, Warner Brothers generally releases the crossovers as part of the season DVD box sets and on their own ever since 2016's Invasion. For Blu-ray releases of the Arrowverse seasons, the crossovers are released in full as part of those sets. I know that in the US, this year's batch of Blu-ray releases did contain the complete Crisis, but that's not the case here in Britain. The only way that all the crossovers can be viewed together on one disc is this DVD release. It suits me fine. I get all the season box sets and crossover DVDs, but for anyone else, this is the only way to watch the whole thing together on one disc. Right. Now, to talk about this particular release, for a one-disc DVD, it looks beautiful. It really, really does. The cover on Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's I love the poster. The poster is absolutely beautiful. It's a fantastic layout of all the characters, all the heroes, the various supporting cast and players and villains in the background. I just love the multiple worlds in particular in the background, with the monitor looming over them all. The colours, the lightning effects. It's all fantastic. It reminds me of how good the poster was for Avengers Infinity War. This is worthy of that. This is absolutely wonderful. I absolutely love it. The slipcase, let me just get the slipcase off. The slipcase is really nice to behold in your hand. It's absolutely fantastic. As the DVD case itself, all pretty standard. It's just standard plastic DVD case, but nice and robust, and nothing fancy, pretty standard. Let's go back to the back of the cover. The back of the cover, it's okay. It's just a composite of the heroes from the recent series, from the recent Arrowverse seasons, and some of the photos are of the actual crossover itself. As you can see, it's no spoilers for those who haven't seen this yet, and there's a basic synopsis of what to behold. Fine, absolutely fine. Now, I don't know who listed these episodes on the back here, who was responsible for the typesetting, but all just listed as Hour 1 for some reason, when really it should be Supergirl is Hour 1, Batwoman is Season 2, Flash should be Hour 3, Arrow should be Hour 4, and Legends of Tomorrow should be Hour 5. So I don't know why they've all been listed Hour 1, just a simple typo error really, I can imagine. Right, also, at first glance, it seems like it's just the episodes for this set and nothing else. Don't be worried, don't be afraid at all, because there are some special features on this, and when I say some, I mean several. There are absolutely loads of extra goodies to be found here. There's some real good featurettes that discuss the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, crossover in the comics. There's a documentary that covers that discusses the managing and preparing for the television event. There's various interviews and discussions of the characters and surprises on offer. There are 6 mini featurettes in total, and really they're just the icing on the cake on this DVD. Absolutely wonderful. These crossover releases have boasted several numerous great features, discussions in the past, but this is perhaps the best batch of goodies we've had for an Arrowverse crossover on DVD. It's fantastic and a real surprise. In terms of everything, the picture and sound transfer is nice and crisp, absolutely beautiful. There's useful subtitles. The menu design may seem plain and unexciting, but it seems to be standard for most Warner Brothers DVDs these days, and compared to the releases for the 2018-2019 Arrowverse seasons, This design is actually terrific. I hated the menu design so much on all those DVDs for that year. They just came across as cheap and lazy, and the menu design for this year and all the others for 2019, 2020, it's a big improvement. Now, when I was reviewing Crisis on Infinite Earths, I was debating which was better, this or 2017's Crisis on Earth X. For a long time, Crisis on Earth X was not only the ultimate Arrowverse crossover, it was an absolute triumph. It was so much better than Marvel's The Defenders. It was so much better than 2017's Justice League film. In terms of story, villains, presentation, direction, choreography, use of special effects, emotional high stakes, Crisis on Earth X was absolutely amazing. The first three parts of Crisis on Infinite Earths were even better than Earth X. Admittedly, though, Infinite Earths does lose some of its momentum for parts 4 and 5, and whilst it does nail the landing in glorious fashion, the final battle here leaves a lot to be desired. In fact, none of the fight scenes overall here really compare to how glorious the ones in Crisis on Earth X were. There is some fun stuff to be found here, like the first battle between the heroes and the shadow demons on Supergirl's Earth 38. There's a real fun battle between Tyler Hoechlin and Brandon Routh's Superman. And the battle between the Spectre and the Anti-Monitor is pretty epic. But the very last battle against the Anti-Monitor is let down by rushed, terrible CGI. It's at this point where the creative team had clearly overexerted themselves. They'd been too ambitious and spread their resources too thinly. It's a real shame, because if they'd managed their resources like they'd done in Crisis on Earth X, then the final battle here could have been absolutely amazing. Sadly, though, it's not. It doesn't even compare to the great stuff in 2016's Invasion. Then there's the Anti-Monitor itself, who is everything the Monitor isn't. Dull, cliched, completely shallow. As a threat, the Anti-Monitor is everything you'd expect for Crisis on Infinite Earths. But as a character, the Anti-Monitor is just really uninspired. LaMonica Garrett and the creative team did so much to make Ma Novu a deep and compelling character, omnipotent being, that you'd think that they do exactly the same for the Monitor's evil counterpart. And they don't. Although, from what I understand about the original source material, the Anti-Monitor wasn't a compelling character in the original crossover event anyway. That's another advantage Crisis on Earth X has. Deeper villains. Another issue I have is the Reverse Flash. After the events of The Flash Season 5, I was really looking forward to Eobard Thawne showing up for this one, and he doesn't. I was really annoyed that Tom Cavanagh wasn't able to portray Thawne again here in the story, after essentially saying he was going to show up for Infinite Earths. Now, I know that given everything that's been accomplished here, the sheer scale of stuff that had to be managed, concessions obviously had to be made, and various characters had to be ditched altogether, like Reverse Flash and John Deegan and the Psycho Pirate, but it still feels like such a swizz. Another thing, if you've never seen any of the Arrowverse shows before and you're thinking of checking out Crisis on Infinite Earths, I wouldn't advise it, as you will be lost. This event is for fans who've loyally been following the shows for years, just like Avengers Endgame was catered for fans who've been watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe since Iron Man 1. But what ultimately makes Crisis on Infinite Earths superior to Crisis on Earth X and every other crossover is that it achieves so much more regardless of its flaws. It pays off so many years worth of storylines in glorious fashion, brings virtually everyone and everything together in an epic that's worthy of the original comics, sets the table for a whole new era, and ultimately makes you realise this is why I love superheroes so much. Marvel rules the movies, DC rules the television. Overall rating 9 out of 10. Absolutely amazing. Thank you all for your loyal support. What did you guys think of Crisis on Infinite Earths? Please discuss in the comments below. Please click like and subscribe. Next time we are getting back to normal finally. We're getting back to normal schedule with a review of Supergirl Season 2. After that, expect a review of Legends of Tomorrow Season 2 and Vixen Season 2 to round up the original rankings for the Arrowverse and to move on and get up to date. See you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.